casts out in these movies. Why are we still doing this? Like, black people can still make like quality stuff.
That's a fact.
If you just give them the chance to do it. Like, what do you do when you have a predominantly white cast or some kind of thing that's out and it was a bomb? Like, y'all just still like have like the bigger movie companies just put out these bombs time after time, and you still have black cinema or even hell Asian cinema or Hispanic cinema getting one movie out, I don't know, let's say every few years or every 5 years or every 10 years. Speaking of like Hispanic cinema, Dora the Explorer is coming out.
It's out.
Oh yeah, okay. So it's out.
Yeah, it came out.
What was the last one before that didn't have to do with like LA gangs or something?
Right.
It didn't have to do with an unfortunate, migrant or immigration issue or something like that this day and age. People of color it's not just black cinema, it was just people of color.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to it, what happened back then, like in the 90s and early 2000s? I mean, we got some bankable names out of that.
Yeah.
Like Taraji P. Henson, Terrence Howard, to name a couple. We technically even Tyler Perry, really. I mean, he was lucky enough to put out the first couple of movies, the first few movies that he did, and then, make the money off of that and then have his own production company. That's cool. I feel like it shouldn't have to have gotten to that point where you have one trailblazer blaze that trail and have to do for himself. Not necessarily for himself. He's doing for other actors and actresses, but why should he have to have it out on his own? Why should he have to put it out on his own? Like, where was Hollywood to be like, yo, we'll go half in on this for you? Or, you need studio space? Yeah, just come here. Like, we got it. I don't know, man. It just... Yeah,
they wasn't fucking with him.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Tyler Perry, too, like, I love what he does for black actresses and actors and shit like that, giving them the platform. And, you discover some talent from them.
Yeah.
I never was a really big Tyler Perry fan in terms of his movies. Like, all of his movies seem the same. Like, it's like the Medea movies. Like, okay, Medea character was funny at first, and then kind of got corny.
Right.
And then her brother, and that was a nice little bit. But like the plots of the story is like an abusive ass black dude.
Yeah.
Like he beating the shit out of his wife and verbally abusing her and mentally abusing her. Right. And then, another dude comes along and saves her. And then it's always some like type of crackhead in there somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? All of his movies seem like they had the same plot. And I kind of got tired of them. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I kind of got tired of those.
Right.
But like I was just thinking about it. Like probably one of my funniest movies of all time for me was Life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, hell yeah.
Like Life, you go back and you think of Life and you could just literally quote that movie from start to finish.
Hell yeah.
Like you could be sitting around, let's say at a random barbecue.
Yeah.
And you could just say a fucking quote from Life, man.
Yep.
Like, just, man.
We get it.
I know those niggas pies right there.
Yeah.
And everybody know what you're talking about.
We get it.
You know what I mean?
We get it.
Like, movies nowadays, particularly black movies, we don't get that a lot.
No.
We don't get those movies where you could just quote them and everybody know what you're talking about.
Like, I just showed, and it's kind of weird that it's still considered a cult classic. Because there wasn't a lot of money spent on it, even then at that point. But now it has a cult, like a religious following. I just showed my 12, I guess, okay, you can say 12 and a half year old. I showed him from start to finish Friday.
Oh, man. Classic.
It was actually the director's cut.
Yeah.
But this wasn't on TV.
Yes.
Like, I took out the Blu-ray disc, put it in there.
Yes.
We popped some popcorn. We just sat there.
Yes.
And he was able, he knew the general plot of the movie, but to see him sit there the way it was intended to be watched without stuff cut out, no edits or words or nothing like that. That was an all black cast. There wasn't a white person in sight. And I'm not saying that's a problem, all right? Don't be coming to me with that heat. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, there's no white people. Yes. But we're talking about all black movies. We're talking about black cinema. He sat there and he watched the movie, or we watched the movie. And that's another one of those movies where we know all the lines to it. Like, we know that movie religiously. We know Life religiously. Many of us know Coming to America religiously, for example. But you don't have movies like that. Now, granted, if Friday was made now, I don't think. I mean, obviously there's next Friday and Friday after next, and those were playing to a general population, or I shouldn't say general, but a general part of the population.
Right.
It wasn't marketed high like big Hollywood movies. If Friday was just getting started now, it would have been released still through like a branch of one of the bigger studios.
Yeah.
If it went to theaters.
Yeah.
Or it was getting released on Netflix or Amazon.
Yeah.
Or even possibly Hulu. I think Hulu's doing movies now. I don't know. But and that on a side note is kind of the sign of the times. Movies now are just being released, digitally, like streaming services.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy how much content.
Like for example, Martin Scorsese's next movie, which is supposed to be groundbreaking, it has De Niro, Pacino, and Pesci. He got Joe Pesci out of hiding to do that movie. That's being released on Netflix. That's not even coming out to theaters. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if Friday was released now, if that was just getting started now, it's not going to get marketed or put out there like really, really big.
Right.
Like it should be. I'm going to pull a movie out that came out earlier this year. Shaft. Has a predominantly black cast, or at least people of colors in that movie.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson's in that damn movie. The original Shaft is in that damn movie. Mm-hmm. And it was out in theaters, but you blinked and it got put out digitally.
Yeah.
Like it's not getting pushed out there and marketed out there. And that kind of sucks in its own.
Yeah, a lot of those movies aren't out in the theaters for long either.
I don't get why.
Like Shaft. I remember when was it Birth of a Nation came out?
Yeah.
The Nat Turner movie?
Yeah.
That was in theaters for like 2 weeks.
That unfortunately had a little bit of controversy peppered in on it, unfortunately, because there was allegations about I can't remember what the actor's name is. There were allegations of him in like sexual misconduct or something.
Oh wow!
So that suffered.
Maybe that's why they pulled it.
It got. I mean, a lot of people didn't come see it either out of protest or out of boycott of it too. But it sucked because I mean that was unfortunate in its own. But I feel that movie went up against something else too when it came out that got more. Even without those allegations, it got more. It got more press anyway. It seemed, and more promotion where people saw that before they saw Birth of a Nation. I was gonna say real quick my gut tells me, and maybe it's just me being pessimistic about society as a whole, but I feel like if Black Panther wasn't a Marvel movie, it wouldn't have had that extra push.
Yeah.
Which sucks in its own right. Mm-hmm. Like if it wasn't an MCU movie, the MCU as we know it now, and if it wasn't intertwined within like Civil War, one of the best MCU movies out there, if he wasn't a Marvel Comics character, I feel like it wouldn't have had that extra push.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. There was that and I'm kind of showing my age. I'm showing the fact that I'm a dad. I'm a dad of 2. It's meme, right?
Yes, it's meme.
No, I'm just fucking around. I'm fucking around. I'm being messy. There was that meme that was put out there. If Black Panther was done in the 90s, and you had like your classic. I shouldn't say classic. For us, it's classic because of our age, our generation. But you had your black actors that were popular in the 90s out there that were cast in different roles in that movie outside of what we know now to be Black Panther. That would have been out around the same time Blade was out. Blade wasn't an all-black cast, but it had a black... I'm jumping a little bit off the trail, but it had a black lead, black superhero, if you will. And it wasn't that... successful. It was a bit successful. Yeah, you got 2 sequels out of it, but it doesn't seem like it has that quote unquote staying power now.
Yeah,
maybe because it wasn't marketed that much. I remember when Blade came out, and like one of my best friends went to go see it before me, and when it finally came out on video or whatever, like we rented it or whatever, we sat there, we watched it, and I was like, "Yo, this movie is badass." Yeah. I'm like, how is this not? How is this one of the best movies like ever?
Right.
And it still kind of isn't. You have your comic book, followers that are just like, yo, this is what you kind of go to. And Mahershala Ali was just cast as Blade. So you hope it gets that kind of push.
Yeah.
But again, it's going to be backed by MCU.
Right.
It's not something that was out there on its own because movie business, rights, blah, 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 blah.
I think you make a very valid point there as well, where it's like being backed by such a like major production company like that definitely is going to give it greater effect.
It seems like for black cinema now, it's a tough mountain to climb. If it has nothing to do with a superhero, if it's not something to do with Tyler Perry, if it doesn't star Denzel or Halle or Will Smith,
or if it's not portraying black people in that that
or if
stereotypical
it's not, role, I'm gonna tell a quick little side story and go back. And I'm not trying to pull a race card and say it's because of racism. I'm just saying there's something to be said about, for example, Denzel Washington. I am not discrediting that gentleman or anything on his resume in any way, shape, or form. His 2 Oscars were for characters he portrayed that showed people of color in a lesser light. His first Oscar was a supporting actor Oscar he got for Glory. He played a black soldier. He was part of the regiment that fought during the Civil War. I think the character was also an escaped slave. No black person wants to even. Obviously, we don't want to be slaves. We got to tell our story, our heritage. But sometimes we don't want to go. We don't want to go down that rabbit hole to even portray that kind of shit.
Right.
That's where he got his first Oscar. The second Oscar was for Training Day. His character was no damn saint in that movie. He was a corrupt police officer, portrayed very, very well, or with that passion or whatever, that fire or whatever, and that's what got him his other Oscar.
Yeah.
He was up for an Oscar, I think, the year before that for portraying Reuben Hurricane Carter in the Hurricane in that movie, but he lost out to, I think it was Russell Crowe. Beautiful Mind. Was when he won that Oscar.
Okay.
Yeah, Russell Crowe won that Oscar. And everybody thought Denzel was going to win the Oscar that year for the Hurricane. I think he won a Golden Globe for that. And usually, if you win a Golden Globe, odds are later on that year you're going to win the Oscar for that role or whatever. That didn't happen. It'd be nice if more black actors won their Oscars without having to go through some kind of strife, really. But that's kind of what seems to sell, regardless of race. It seems to be that's what you have to do to portray someone going through some serious hardships, whether it's self-inflicted or it's unfortunate luck of the draw or whatever, to win an Oscar. I'm trying to think of one example. Eddie Redmayne, who people might know him. He's an English actor, but people might know him currently for he's in those Fantastic Beasts movies.
Okay,
I think I forget what the name of the movie was that he won his Oscar for, but he portrayed a man who is trying to transition into being a woman. That's a hardship on its own. I mean, credit where credit is due, and he won his Oscar for that. People don't seem to win Oscars, for example, or Golden Globes for roles that are generally happy.
Right.
I'm going to veer even more off the path. There's a big push for, spoiler alert, for Robert Downey Jr. to win an Oscar for Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
For being Tony Stark. And I get that. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, I wouldn't be mad if he got nominated. I wouldn't be mad if he won. But that's kind of why you don't see like superheroes get nominated or win. Because you're expecting them to prevail. You're expecting them to win. They're noble people. It's like, it's one thing if you're going to be an actor or actress and portray a character who's gone through some low points, a character portrayed in a lesser light, but it's even a further step back to be a person of color to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, well, shit, I'm already black. Like, what, and I brought up Denzel because he was Malcolm X. Say what you will about Malcolm X. Have your own opinion.